How's it going, everybody? I appreciate you stopping in, checking in with me. It's old BK here. It's Saturday afternoon. It's going to be a very quick check-in. I was starting a barbecue, so I have some charcoal residue still here on my hand. I thought I got rid of all of that, but anyway, gonna be here just a really quick check-in because I started talking about something this morning when I was coming back from the gym, and I figured, well, I should probably let you know exactly what I was talking about. And since you're back, that was kind of you, and so I figured I might as well go ahead and finish the story, and then I'm going to a barbecue. Yay! So that's going to be a lot of fun. And if you didn't check out the video from earlier today, it's just a couple seconds, and you can check it out if you want to, but I'm just going to kind of tell you what I was talking about. It's kind of like this famous four-letter word that I talk about probably a lot. I don't know if I've talked about it enough here on this outlet, but we'll probably start talking about it more. And if you don't know me, by the way, my name is Billy Keels. And aside from kind of living two lives, which means I'm still playing in the corporate game a lot, and I am building this really wonderful business that allows me to connect with people from all over the globe, the world, through cash flowing assets. And specifically, I help people like me, like multinational employees who are trying to get ahead and have more control over their financial life. I help them to come up with plans that actually make sense for them, but it's probably in a way that you are not necessarily thinking about, I would say. But we can talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But actually, before we get started, because I'm a guy who lives here in Europe and invests in multifamily real estate back in the States, I wrote an ebook about that. So you'll probably want to check that out. You can go to keeponcashflow.com/roadmap. If you're able to type it in, I've got this stuff on my hands. I don't want to get the keyboard all crazy here. I would appreciate it. Once again, it's keeponcashflow.com/roadmap. And the thing is, a lot of times I have both students and investors that come to me because they're looking to have more control and over their financial life, and in a way that it's simple and easy to understand. Because the thing is, even though both my students and my investors, they're super successful people. The majority of them are probably multiple six-figure salary earners. They're probably working in IT sector. Some of them are working in what do you call it? Like international, not multinational, but like international organizations, and telcos, telecommunications companies. Yeah, I mean, most of them, even though they're very successful and they're rising and they're maxed out on their 401ks and they're doing all that kind of fun stuff, what they typically tell me is that they feel a little bit like frustrated because they feel like they're doing all the right things. Like they've got the good grades, they're in the class, they're rising, they're doing all the crazy hours, and they still don't seem to feel like they have that security of like when they move forward, right? Because every time they make more money, either they're being more taxed or they are putting their funds in places where they think they're going to grow, but they're actually not getting any returns, or they're betting and all this kind of stuff. And so I guess when they do that, they're feeling basically in this, creating this sense of insecurity, which is a lot of them tell me. And so because they tell me that, one of the things that I want to make sure that that I can do, I basically kind of tell them, look, if you're feeling this way, then you're here today and you may not actually have the types of assets that will allow you to like go from here to actually where you want to be. So like feeling that you have more control and you are doing it in a way that's simple and easy to understand. And so I would say that there's kind of like three things that they need to be able to focus on, right? Number one is making sure that they have the right mindset in place. Two, that they have kind of like this map of where they're going, and number three is that they create movement, like that they're taking action, right? And so I do want to tell you about that, but it kind of makes me think before I tell you the story, what happened this morning in this 4-letter word, for those of you that are interested in how you can kind of go from where you are today to having more control and doing it in a way that's simple and easy to understand, you can go to keeponcashflow.com/roadmap. You can pick up your free ebook there, and it will also help you along the way. But if we come back to this, what I was talking about before, like the whole mindset piece, and there was this, and I play a lot of Cashflow 101, and so I see people struggle with this quite frequently. Now, if you haven't played Cashflow 101, you can also, if you're in Barcelona especially, you should check out keeponcashflow.com/events. And the next time we're playing Cashflow 101 game, you can see this. But and I don't know what kind of a household you grew up in, if it was similar to mine, but I was on the treadmill this morning, and I was watching this or listening to a podcast, and today's podcast was Cardone, Grant Cardone, and he was talking about debt. And I started realizing, I don't necessarily know if we talk about it a lot, but there were some of the things that it was more from a mindset perspective, right? Because there's guys like Cardone, there's guys like Robert Kiyosaki, and then you also have guys like Dave Ramsey, who Dave Ramsey tells you get out of debt, don't have any debt, and just live your life and be really defensive and protect yourself and all that other kind of stuff, right? I'm not against either one of these guys. I personally follow a clear philosophy, and it's more in line with what I'm going to tell you about now. But this whole thing around this 4-letter word, which is DEBT, debt. Right. And so we started talking about debt. And I know when I just said that word, it made you feel some kind of way, right? How do you feel about debt? Like, I want to know, tell me right in the box, what does debt mean to you? How do you feel about it? And kind of what were you taught? Like, I was taught one way, and I promise you that the way that I think about debt today is a very, very different way, because all debt is not created the same, right? All debt is not created the same. And so the thing is, you've got to get your mind around it. Like, you get your mindset around what is debt. It is a tool, and how can it best be used for you and your goals, right? He gave some pretty staggering numbers. I think he was talking about just in home mortgages. He used a lot of U.S. references, right? And so, but just go with me here. He was talking about $9 trillion US dollars in debt on mortgages. And the thing is, it's not necessarily the 9 million in debt on mortgages. That's the thing about the debt, but it's like 5 trillion worth of debt is in equity. Like, it's equity. It means that it's just sitting in that property. Like, it's not doing anything. It's stuck in the property. And so if you don't know really kind of what that means, type it in the box, because I'd love to chat more with you about that. But the whole thing is, you want to get to this point of security. You want to get to this point where you're feeling good, and you can predict in an easy way kind of how you can get more control of your life. You got to get your mind right. You got to get your mind around some of these concepts like debt, and figuring out what debt is, right? And I don't want to tell you what it is or what it is not, but I want you to tell me, what is your perception of debt? Think debt's good? Do you think it's bad? Why? I'd love to know. But one of the things I can tell you, if you want to get forward and get ahead, you really need to know and understand what it is and how you can or should be best using it. So anyway, so I guess that's the whole thing. The thing is, get your mind right, get your understanding around what these types of concepts are. And the one thing that if I could leave you just with a helpful tip, it is figure out what debt is. Ask the question here. Because when you understand what debt is and how you can best use it for your situation, your context, it's going to help you go from here to here, which is the thing that you really want to be able to do. So like I said, I'd love to be able to help you on that road. One of the ways that I've tried to help work you with the mindset is creating the ebook. So like I said, you can go and pick that up at keeponcashflow.com/roadmap. roadmap, it will be, well, it's my gift for me to you. So like I said, this is a really quick one. I just wanted to check in. I always appreciate you here. Whenever you are here, just leave your name. If you can also type where you're from and leave the flag from your country, that would be very cool. So I hope everybody has a great Saturday, and I'm going to head to my barbecue. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. This is Billy. Hasta la próxima.